Yeah, what's up? It's Monday. It's a special edition of Mat Therapy because we had a busy weekend and we want to tell you guys all about it. What is up? I'm Donna. Thank you so much for hanging out with us today. To my left, I have the beautiful Beckford who's busy texting or something.
I'm retweeting.
Okay, she's retweeting. Hi, Becky.
Hi.
Hi, Lee. How was your weekend? Did you miss us?
Hi, it was amazing. I always miss you guys.
And in the house today, we have Mr. Ruben Rivera, all the way from 10th Planet Santa Fe. Thank you for joining us, sir. What's going on?
Thank you for having me. You forgot to say Ruben Rivera with the good hair.
Can
We're
you let me
getting to
finish?
that.
Jeez, how dare you ruin my
you
setup?
You have to give it all away up front.
The point is, before we get into anything else, we need to cover the most important thing. How the hell do you get your hair looking like that all the time?
Nate said it's a combination of cinnamon and conditioner.
All right, yeah. Cinnamon and conditioner.
So that's what I was forgetting, the cinnamon.
Yeah.
And I had all my hair, and now it's all gone.
I just spilled coffee down the front of me here.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah. This camera shot is going to have all of the good hair today.
So,
Becky
are you claiming?
With the good hair.
Hi.
Whoa, that's a huge claim. Are you claiming that you are Becky with the good hair? You are the Becky with the good hair.
I'm not saying I'm that one specifically, that came up.
Are you saying that you're not?
I am Becky.
Hashtag Ruben and Becky with the good hair.
And my hair doesn't suck.
I like how you guys are trying to make that a thing. Like, Donna all weekend has been hashtagging Ruben with the good hair. Like,
that's
she's
my new hashtag.
Trying to start.
That's my new.
Trying to
what do you mean
trying?
How dare you?
Do
you know who I am?
You're the only one who's done it so far, is what I'm saying. But
right,
I feel
and I've done it. Therefore, it's a real thing.
You're starting a trend. Okay. And then
when
you
I got a black eye,
Becky to do it.
When I got a black eye, I hashtagged
black eye is
when
what she's saying.
When I got a black
not
eye, I did the hashtag jitsu, not Jonathan. Just to be clear.
Okay.
Yeah.
He didn't give it to me.
Right.
Yeah, you know, it's funny. Keith Jardine, he dates Jody Escobar.
Yes.
And you know, she didn't do too well in her last fight, and
it happens.
Yeah, you know, it happens. And he was like, I'm not gonna go out with her. He's like, I've done it before,
right.
And you just
the
get
looks.
the craziest.
Dude, the
looks,
especially when you're like a big buffed out dude, the looks that people give you. I specifically try and wear fight shirts whenever I have some kind of marking on me, so at least I can be like,
it's this.
Because the looks that people give Jonathan, and like the women are one thing.
And
he's brown.
And buff.
Yeah, and so like the women are one thing. The women just kind of like, but the like dudes like try and like
posture
like
on them.
you can see that they have that like, should I say something, like how's this gonna go? There was this guy at a gas station that like looked at me and looked at Jonathan and looked at me, and he was like
putting it all together.
Yeah,
in that moment he was
something?
like
so, yeah, I try and always be like jiu-jitsu.
Maybe you need that shirt then.
Maybe, yeah.
Hashtag jiu-jitsu, not Jonathan.
There you go. Like they'll be like, are you Jonathan?
All right, we're good.
So it was an awesome weekend. You came out here and did a fantastic seminar for
us.
It was. On the beach. I mean, really, what more could you people ask for? Beach, jiu-jitsu match, black belt seminar. It's like the most amazing thing ever. Did you like it?
It really was. It really is cool, the idea of it. I didn't. Here's the thing. I thought it was actually going to be on the beach, on the sand.
Oh, we disappointed him, I think.
No, I wasn't disappointed. I just imagined like the old Gracie videos of them fighting on the beach in the sand. And
I'm going to get sand in places. Yeah. It's going to be so weird.
It's going to be so crazy. But no, it was cool. So what it is like there's like a little park with grass, right? And then you put the mats on top, and it's probably way better that way than actually trying to do jiu-jitsu on the sand.
We've done it the other way too. Yeah.
As cool as jiu-jitsu on the sand sounds, it probably isn't. So
it's like sex on the sand.
It gets a little
sounds better than it actually
sounds
is.
super romantic until you got sand all up in your butt. Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
Nobody wants that.
Yeah.
No, but it was great. It was awesome. I got a lot of great feedback. You know, it was one of those things like where we didn't know who was going to show up.
Yeah,
right?
we really had no idea. I
anything.
asked, but nobody did. Like 3 people were like, "Can you put me on the list?" I'm like, "Yeah, you're it."
Yeah, yeah. So it was like that, and then before you knew it, we didn't have any space on the mats.
I know.
Yeah,
it was awesome. I was like a proud mama.
We did it.
I know. I keep looking at that picture of like the whole group. I'm like, damn, it was
a good turnout. We had people from all over. Whenever you throw a 10th Planet seminar, you expect a heavy 10th Planet turnout, and there was. But it's also awesome when like 5 guys from Kentucky show up and you're like, where did you come from?
Yeah.
And
there were
like,
some guys from Florida, from Tampa.
There was the Hayden's brothers. Jason Hayden.
Oh yeah.
Those guys were
he was
awesome.
there. Yeah, those guys were really nice, really cool guys, and I think the Hayden brothers definitely made some fans this weekend.
Yeah, we were cheering
Oh
for
my
them. That was
God.
awesome.
Yeah.
That was my favorite match.
Before we get into that, I do want to talk about this weekend because there was so much that happened. But first, I'd love to hear about your journey into jiu-jitsu. How did you get into it, and what was your journey to where you are now? You're the man at 10th Planet Santa Fe. I know Tate is the owner of the gym, but you are the head instructor, correct?
Yep. Yeah, now that Tate's gone, because Tate is very busy nowadays.
He's a very busy man.
Yeah, acting and stunt work and everything he's doing, so he's always gone. And he comes. I mean, he's in Santa Fe. Like he tries, I think, to do like 1 week a month in Santa Fe, but it doesn't always work. And so I'm there.
You're the man.
24/7. Yeah, all the time.
Except this week.
I'm at the gym like 6 days to 7 days a week.
You guys live there. It seems
I train 6 days a week.
I'm so sorry. That sounds awful.
A terrible life.
Yeah.
A terrible life.
Well, so tell us your journey. How did you get into jiu-jitsu?
Well, I think like most Mexicans, my foray into martial arts started with boxing.
I thought you were going to say...
me too. Is that a Mexican thing?
Yeah, of
I
course.
thought you were going to say street fighting or something. But boxing makes sense too.
There's that. You know, I was talking to my friend Nate Harris on the drive over here. And,
Who?
Nate.
Who's that?
Nate,
Who?
Nasty.
Who's that?
Nasty
What?
Nate Harris.
I've never heard
formerly
of him.
known
Who is
as
he?
Sensitive Nate Harris.
I've never heard of him.
Yeah.
Hi, Nate. We love you.
He's probably watching right now. If he has service, I can guarantee
We're gonna
he's
get
watching
texts
on
from
the
him.
drive over.
All
of you guys.
He's driving home by himself 12 hours. I feel really bad.
Aw,
I feel
Nate.
bad. I feel bad.
Do you actually feel
No,
really
I
bad?
do.
A little
Nate's
bit.
like
We'll
a
keep you
brother to
company
me.
at least for the next hour and a half.
But yeah, so going back, so yeah, I think most Mexicans for sure that I know of anyways are fanatics of boxing, and so I started there. And I would go and I would box with one of my friends. He's probably like 7 years older than me. His name's Ivan Miranda. And he was kind of like my mentor starting out. He would like teach me techniques, and then we'd go home and we'd watch tape. Back then he would like order VHS tapes from eBay, like old fights.
Yeah.
So we were watching like Oscar de la Hoya, and we would like rewind and we'd do our own playback and we'd break the techniques down and all that stuff.
Oscar's like the gateway for all of us into
right?
fighting. That's why I got into
Yeah,
fighting.
exactly. Yeah. So we would watch those things, and I would go and he would teach me things at the gym, and then there was a moment where I didn't train with him for a while, like a few months, and when I came back, he was like onto some new shit, right? And he was like, hey, there's this new stuff I've been doing. And I'm like, what is it? And he's like, well, I took a 3-day course at a Gracie Jiu-Jitsu school. And I'm like, what's Jiu-Jitsu? And he's like, well, it's like wrestling.
Your life.
It's like wrestling. Well, no, it actually took a lot longer than that. But he's like, it's like wrestling, but like with chokes and stuff like that. And I was like, okay, cool. He's like, watch, I'll show you what they showed me. So he showed me like a scissor sweep from guard, and then he showed me an arm bar from guard, and then he showed me an arm bar from mount. He showed me how to do them, and I thought it was really cool because growing up, I have an older brother, and so like I was wrestling with him all the time.
For sure.
Yeah, he would pick on me, and my brother's always been like real muscular, and he was bigger than me, and so he'd always beat me up. So it was like cool to learn these techniques, and what was funny is I started doing them when we would mess around. You know, I'd get to guard and armbar all my cousins and my brother and stuff. And so like I immediately felt the power of jiu-jitsu, but I didn't actually train for a long time. So anyways, he shows me what jiu-jitsu is, and he's like, hey, you want to come over to my house? I got a new VHS tape. And so we go to his house, and we end up watching this documentary, which I didn't know what it was called at the time, but now I know that it was called Choke, and it was the Hicks and Gracie documentary of when he does the Vale Tudo tournament, and he wins the whole thing, right, using jiu-jitsu. And so when I saw that, I was like, man, like this is the art to know, you know, because in that tournament they did it like boxing versus jiu-jitsu, kickboxing versus jiu-jitsu, like I think there was wrestling versus jiu-jitsu. And so like when I saw that, I saw like jiu-jitsu beat every style. I was like, man, I got to do that. You know what I mean? Like, what am I doing boxing? Like, I just saw this boxer get his ass kicked. Like, I don't want him to do what that guy's doing. I want to do what the guy that won the whole thing and didn't take any
losers doing.
Yeah, didn't take any damage. You know, Hicks and Gracie didn't even get touched once, I don't think, in the entire tournament. And I was like, I want to learn how to do that. But then I forgot about it. It must have been like a couple of years after that, after watching that documentary, that I got into jiu-jitsu. And what happened was, I started getting out of shape. I graduated from high school. and I wasn't very active. And, you know, after 18, I started drinking and partying with my friends and doing the whole thing, you know, like all that. And I was also in a band. I played in a band. I was a drummer in a band.
In a band.
Yeah. I
Did you wear guyliner?
I didn't.
Yeah. Oh,
But
come on.
We played Spanish rock in bars, and I was allowed to go because I was working.
You were in a Spanish rock band?
And you didn't wear guyliner? What the fuck,
I didn't.
Ruben?
But basically, what that
story
did,
just got so good.
what it did was I was drinking every weekend. I was
Right.
drinking Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and like we would drink a lot because it was like free drinks on the bar, whatever bar we were playing on. And so I wasn't active. I wasn't working out. I wasn't doing anything. I was drinking beers, doing all that, and so I started to gain weight. You know. And I remember, yeah, exactly. I remember one of my friends was like, I went to his restaurant and I was wearing like a fitted shirt, and he's like, hey, dude, he's like, you're starting to get like a little pudge. And then I remember looking down and I was like, oh shit, man. You know,
reality hit.
And yeah, it was like a reality hit, and I was like, man, like, and I knew the value of like being active because my whole life I've been very active. And so I was like, yeah, I haven't been doing shit for like 2 years. I haven't been working out or doing any kind of activity. So I was like, I need to start going to the gym, right? That was like the moment I realized I needed to start going to a gym. And I was like, well, maybe I'll go and lift weights and be like the bodybuilding style workout, right? But I get bored very easily. Yeah. I think I'm a dopamine driven person. So I'm always like looking for like the rush, right? And so that immediately was super boring to me. And I was like, well, maybe I'll start boxing again. But I didn't do that because I had this thing going on with my feet where my feet would hurt a lot. And at first I thought it was plantar fasciitis. And I won't go into that a whole lot, but it gave me pain. So I couldn't really box
because you have to be on your toes.
Yeah, because it would hurt. And I was like, well, maybe I'll do that jiu-jitsu thing that Ivan told me about a long time ago. Because I was like wrestling.
That stuff.
And it wasn't as hard on my feet as boxing was, because like you said, you have to be on your toes and the arch of your foot, you know, it's like you're constantly working out exactly, your calves, like all that stuff, whereas jiu-jitsu not so much, especially in the traditional jiu-jitsu where we start on our knees and stuff. You know, you could literally
get in my guard, bro.
Yeah, exactly. You could literally not stand on your feet ever. And so I was like, well, maybe I'll do that. So I was like, I hit him up and I'm like, hey, dude, remember that jiu-jitsu thing you told me about? And then like, what's the best gym? And he was like, well, there's this place Undisputed I've been going to. And I was like, okay, cool, I'll go there. So I show up and I'm like, hey, I want to sign up. And they're like, have you ever done it before? And I'm like, no, I kind of already know. I think this was 2008. Okay. I think, yeah. I think it was 2008. The end of 2008, I think is what it was. I think it was like October 21st of 2008.
Damn, he just got
nice.
Do you know the time that you walked in the door?
Is when
at
I joined
2:34 p.m.
Really?
I walked in.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's important,
2:34 p.m.
Right?
I walked into Undisputed, and
because it's like the question you always get: how long have you been doing jiu-jitsu? You know, and it's like, I don't know.
I don't think I can get specific down to the
I can't do the day. I can tell you.
I can tell you it was like a week and a half after my birthday in 2012.
Well, there you go.
That's all I got.
Specific.
That's good enough, right?
Like the 13th.
So you can do better than I can.
16th-ish of February.
I know the month that I joined
Somewhere
Legends, and then like that was 2007, and then in 2008, I don't know when, but that's when I started. I was like, hey Eddie, can I take your class? Yeah, that's when it started.
And so then I'm like, can I sign up? And they're like, well, do you know anything about it? Because usually they're like, would you like to try a class? And I'm like, no, I want to sign up. And the guy's like, okay, yeah, it'll be $100 or whatever. And I'm like, yeah, cool.
Here it is.
Yeah, give him $100.
You didn't even want your free week or something?
No, I was like, I was ready to
free
go.
classes.
Right?
I was ready to go. So he's like, all right, well, class is at 7 p.m. tonight or something like that. I remember.
Nice.
And so I show up, and Tate is the instructor, not the guy who signed me up. And so
really,
yeah. So
Tate was instructing back then.
Yeah, Tate was the head instructor, and so he's scary. So there's this big, huge guy in the gi, because back then it was gi. Mm-hmm. And I was like, okay, so I do all the things, and they do the warm up, they teach some techniques. I do the techniques, and then it's time to roll. So I'm a beginner, right? So they partner me up with Nate, who is also a beginner.
Nate was there?
Yes. I didn't know him, though. This was my first interaction ever with Nate.
Was he sarcastic?
And they paired us up. No, he's like very quiet and normal back then.
Normal.
He's not.
As opposed to now.
Look, we've come a
Nate
long
Harris.
way.
Less quiet, less normal.
We've come a long way, all of us. It's crazy to see like how much we've grown as people. Like literally, like we've grown into men there, and then also just our consciousness, you know. So Nate was very different back then. We used to make jokes that he would smoke cigarettes outside of the gym before he'd walk in, and he says it's not true. Technically, it isn't, because he wasn't doing jiu-jitsu when he would do that.
Okay, that's gross, Nate. It's gross.
He would smoke, and then he'd come in to hang out with his cousin who was running the gym at the time. But he was like, I didn't like smoke and then go do jiu-jitsu. Like I wasn't that guy or whatever. But anyways, so they partnered me up with Nate because he's a beginner as well. I think he was 3 months in at the time. And they're like, go with Nate. So I partner up with Nate. They put the clock on and we shake hands and I pull guard and I armbar him. And then nobody believed me. Everyone was like, you've done jiu-jitsu before. You've done jiu-jitsu before. You're lying to us. Like, where have
You're sandbagging.
Where have you trained? Yeah. And I was like, I haven't. My friend Ivan taught me. He taught me an armbar because he went and took a 3-day course at the Gracie School or whatever. And they couldn't believe that. Like, what? Like this
some dude taking a 3-day
course taught you an armbar, and then you come in here and armbar our guy who's been training for 3 months. And to this day, for a long time, actually, Nate didn't believe me for years. He thought like, "Oh, you've trained somewhere
After you guys
else
become friends, bro, I need you to tell me something. And you just be honest.
Like, be for real.
He still makes the joke. Yeah, Ruben came in and armbarred me on his first day, and so I was hooked. I mean, I was already hooked before that because, like I said, like wrestling with my cousins on the trampoline or whatever, like I just armbar everyone, you know, and so I knew that it was powerful, you know. I knew that like technique and leverage over strength, like I had experienced that already, like wrestling with my cousins who were bigger and stronger than me. So like I knew what I was getting into. I knew that this was like a real thing, and so I think like I was immediately hooked, and also like I just felt like that was my thing, like and it really was. I excelled very quickly, you know. I think I was already like a tough kid because I had an older brother. I had cousins that were like my brothers, that we were always messing around. I grew up and I've been in like countless fights in school and in my neighborhood, and like, you know what I mean?
Because
like,
everybody was jealous of your hair?
Not really, no. But it was just like I grew up, I wouldn't say it was like rough part, but it wasn't like the nicest part of town or whatever.
Where'd you grow up?
It seemed common in Santa Fe, New Mexico.
Oh, you did grow up there?
Yeah.
I thought...
Yeah, well, I was born in El Paso, Texas.
Okay.
But my parents moved to Santa Fe, New Mexico when I was a year old.
Okay.
So, you know, I'm
from
New Mexico. I'm not from Texas.
Yeah.
But yeah, you know, so I got in a lot of fights and stuff, and so I feel like I was kind of tough. I'm not saying like I was super tough or whatever, but like compared to some of the guys who were there that were hobbyists and stuff, like they were like, I would like pass their guard, and then they were like already blue belts or whatever, and I just see like their eyes just open up, and they were like amazed, like, oh, they couldn't believe that this guy was dominating them, and he was only a month in or something, you know. And so I got my blue belt in 6 months.
Wow.
Damn.
Yeah, which I felt was like a little like, I didn't, you know, it was one of those things like you're like, what, 6 months? Like it seems like really fast. But the other thing about me that was different was that I didn't care. I didn't know what the belts meant. Like I didn't even know how many belts there were in jiu-jitsu for a long time. Like probably almost up until I was a purple belt. I hadn't quite figured it out. Like I would still have to look up because we had a like a display that showed you all the belts.
You didn't know.
Yeah, and so every time somebody would ask or like whatever, I would like look up and reference it, like, okay, purple comes after blue, brown comes after...
I'm probably going to give a black belt soon because I don't know where it is.
Yeah, it makes me sound like an idiot. But I just didn't care. Like, it wasn't that it was hard to memorize. It was just that it didn't matter to me.
Yeah.
And I think one of the other reasons was because it wasn't a jiu-jitsu gym necessarily back then. It was an MMA gym. So what happened is we would do jiu-jitsu for an hour and a half. Class would end, and then we would do kickboxing for an hour and a half. And then on Fridays we would do MMA. And so I just jumped into everything. Like they were like, "Do you want to stay for kickboxing?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I don't have any gloves." And they're like, "Well, here, you can borrow some gloves."
Nice.
And then they saw that I was tough.
Yeah.
There too.
You just got bit by the bug.
Yeah. And then they were like, "Do you want to come on Friday or whatever? We need a guy." And I'm like, "Yeah, sure." And so then I think they just saw that I was like tough and I was willing and I wanted to. And like I said, I think I didn't really care about jiu-jitsu as much once I started doing kickboxing and MMA. Because then I was like, ooh, MMA is cool. Like, I want to do MMA.
You can do everything,
you know? And so then jiu-jitsu just became like a piece of that, of MMA. I needed all these things, and the ground fighting was just part of it.
For sure.
You know? And so I didn't care about the belt. So I would just come in, and I didn't... It wasn't like, oh, that guy's a blue belt, or that guy's a purple belt, because I didn't know what it meant.
You weren't doing it for the belts, you were doing it for the MMA.
Did you ever have an MMA fight?
I did, yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I fought twice.
Uh-huh.
I fought twice, and I won both my fights. The first one I won by TKO. It's actually on YouTube. And then the second one I won by meat hook to triangle.
Nice.
Fancy.
So
you're so fancy.
Yeah. So I ranked up really quick because, like I said, when I would roll with guys, it didn't matter what their belt was. You know, I think a lot of people, they see the belt or they ask you like, well, how long have you been training, or what's your rank? And then it'd be like purple belt. And then that sets the precedent for how they roll, or how,
that makes sense.
You know, and I never did that to myself. Like, I was just like, doesn't matter. You know what I mean? Like, I have this mindset of like, anybody can do anything. And I know a lot of people don't believe that, but like, I feel like if you are in the right environment, if you're able, if you have the right mindset, then you can teach yourself how to do anything with the right amount of time. Right. You know, and some people don't believe that's true, because I've had this conversation with other people, but that's kind of how I looked at it. Like, I would look at these guys, and it didn't matter who they were, their rank or their weight or their size. They were a human just like me, you know. And I think that was very helpful in the beginning stages, because it didn't allow me to like I said, it didn't allow me to like look at them and like hold them up higher maybe than they were or whatever. And so I would just roll, and I would roll to tap them, or I would roll to dominate them or whatever. And it helped me rank up pretty quickly. So I got to purple belt in 6 months. And I got, blue in 6 months, and purple in a year and a half.
Damn.
Yeah.
A year and a half after the blue, or a year and a half total? Okay.
A year and a half after blue.
Damn.
So you'd been training for 2 years.
Yes. So I'd been training for 2 years when I got my purple, I think maybe 2 or 2.5. 2.5 at the most it was, for sure. 2.5 I got my purple. And then I got my brown 4 years ago. So I got my brown like at like 2012-ish. At like 3 or 3.5 years. So it was like bam, 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 you know. And
had this become your whole life? Were you already working at the gym? Were you training as much as you're training now?
So when I was a blue belt, I started competing. I did 2 MMA fights as a blue belt. You know, I did all that. And then one day Tate calls me into the office, and he's like, hey, come to the office. And at this point, he had brought in another instructor, Renato Migliaccio. He's a 3rd degree black belt under Ryan Gracie. And he had brought him in to help teach and run the school, because Tate needed help. And so Renato and Tate called me into the office, and they're like, hey, how do you like jiu-jitsu? And I'm like, oh, I love jiu-jitsu. I love all of it, you know. And they're like, what do you think about being an instructor? And I was like, I'm a blue belt. Like, I don't know anything. Like, I don't even know the difference between an Americana and a Kimura. I literally told them that. Like, I don't know the difference. You know? Like, I know they're different. I know one goes up and one goes down or whatever, but I don't know which one's which.
Were you pulling them off though?
Yeah, exactly.
Would you tap somebody with them and be like, which one was that?
No, I wouldn't ask, because like I said, it didn't matter.
Right.
It didn't matter. Like, it didn't matter to me. Like, the name of what I was doing or how it didn't matter.
It was
like,
just
I was just trying to tap
cool.
these guys, and so I didn't know. And so I was like, I can't teach. Like, I don't even know what stuff is called. And they're like, and Renato's like, oh, it's fine. Like, you're talented. Like, like once you get to purple, then we'll make sure you know everything that you need to know. Like, then it's important to know all the techniques. And he's Brazilian, so you know. It's funny the way he spoke, but he was like, just wait, once you get to purple you'll be fine. And so they basically started training me to be an instructor. They like,
wow, that's cool.
They would ask me to teach the warm-ups, and then they would have me cover here and there, and then, you know, stuff like that. And And so by the time I got to purple, I was an instructor. I was teaching. I don't know if I was teaching full time yet, but I was like covering here and there. Tate would come and go, you know, and I think what they knew was that Renato was gonna leave and that Tate was gonna leave. They were both gonna leave, and I don't know this for a fact because to this day I don't know what if they knew or they didn't knew, but I think they did.
Right.
I think they were preparing themselves because Renato was like, I'm gonna bounce.
Was he going back to Brazil?
He moved to California. He's in Glendora right now. He has his own school. It's called, I can't think of what it's called. Morambai Gracie. No. That's what his affiliation was. I don't know. I'll have to look it up. But I think they were both planning to leave.
Okay.
And so what happened was eventually that did happen. They both left. And I didn't become the instructor. They brought in a brown belt.
Okay.
A 10 Planet brown belt named Henry Martinez. And Henry went on to fight in the UFC 3 times and stuff too. And Henry's super talented. So they asked Henry to come teach when they both left. And Henry is just like one of those guys. He's like old school. He wrestled his whole life. He wrestled as a kid all the way up until he was an adult. And then he went on to train at Jackson's.
Oh, nice.
He's old school Jackson's, like before Jackson's was a
they
household
became
name.
yeah.
He was
The
training
school
with
to train
them.
at, yeah.
He was training with them, and so Henry was doing heel hooks way before anybody was heel hook. And he was heel hooking the shit out of us. And the thing about Henry is he's super talented, but I don't want to say that he wasn't a good instructor. He just wasn't good at teaching you how to do it.
Okay.
It's
not
like
everybody can teach.
He wanted you. It's not that he was like holding back or not trying to help you. It's just that he couldn't quite put it into words or like show you or whatever. And there wasn't specific names. So like right now we have like Ashi, and we have double outside Ashi, and we have the Crippler, and we have 411 and Honey Hole, and we have all these names. But back then he was like, well, the heel hook's on this side in this position, and your feet are over here, and in this one your feet are over here, and the heel hook's on this, and it wasn't very easy to learn. But when you would roll with him, he would just tap you, destroy you.
Here's your ankle.
And, yeah, exactly. And so, anyways, Henry goes on to fight in the UFC, and he quits. He says, "Hey, I'm pursuing my dream as a UFC fighter, and I can no longer teach at the gym." And so then we didn't have an instructor again because Tate's gone, Renato's gone, and now Henry's gone. So then they look to the next
Ruben,
next highest ranking guy. I'm the next highest ranking guy. At that point, I was like a purple belt with 2 stripes, I think.
You guys do stripes?
Well, we did because we were still a gi school back then.
Oh.
So you guys weren't 10th Planet.
We were
then?
doing both. No, we weren't 10th Planet. Oh. Actually, we applied, or what back then we had to submit a video showing 10th Planet techniques. And we didn't make it. Henry didn't make it. Henry was the guy showing the techniques, and
he was
Eddie.
Brown belt under Eddie.
He was a brown belt under Tate.
Oh,
but it was different back then because, like I said, it was like half gi, half 10th Planet Jiu-Jitsu, half MMA. Like it was just like it was all over the place, and it was good. It was good, but it wasn't like now. Like now it's like super systematic, and we have all these things, and it wasn't like that back then.
Took us all a while to get a system.
It took a while.
In the beginning, it was just kind of like,
okay.
Yeah.
Jiu-Jitsu.
And so we submit this video to Eddie, and Eddie sends back, and he's like, well, he didn't know who Henry was, so he's like, well, whoever this guy is, he was off in his truck on the Kamikaze, and he was off on his whatever kung fu move or something like that, and he gave us all this criteria to work on. And we kind of just left it at that. Like, I don't know that we reapplied or tried again. Okay. And so then Henry left. And then when I came in, then Tate talked to Eddie, and there was this thing. And then all of a sudden we became a 10 Planet school. Oh, he talked to me. After I became instructor, Tate was like, what do you think about going no-gi completely? And I was like, I don't know. I'm like, I think there's value to the gi, I said. And he's like, really? What's the value? And I was like, I don't know.
Oh, everybody at home's listening.
Let me think about this for a second. No, I don't talk shit about the gi because my foundation of jiu-jitsu was with the gi. You know what I mean? I know there's a huge like gi versus no gi thing, but like I'm a guy who his entire foundation of jiu-jitsu, the basics of jiu-jitsu, were in the gi. You know what I mean? So I'm more like a traditional. I started more like a traditional jiu-jitsu player, not like now that we have guys that have never put a gi on. Yeah, exactly. Or like Gio. I think Gio threw a gi on last year or something one time. And I think he's gone his entire career without training in the gi at all. Yeah. But that wasn't the case for me. So I was like, well, I think there's value. Like you can develop grip strength, I told Tate, and teaches you to be a little maybe more technical because it's slower. You don't get to like explode out of things or rip out of an arm bar or whatever because it's not as slick, right? It's like there's a lot more friction. So it really takes a lot more time and control and stuff to escape stuff. And like I told Tate all these things, and Tate's like, Tate's like, I don't think so. Like,
nice try, but no.
I don't think any of those things.
Get rid of it. Sorry.
Yeah, I don't think any of that stuff is valuable enough for us to like keep it or whatever. But in his mind, the reason he was asking me is because he was having a conversation with Eddie about becoming a 10th Planet affiliate, and he was trying to see if there was any reason to
like
keep.
If you had any huge invested interest.
Exactly.
In.
And he knew I was in MMA. I was still into MMA or whatever. I still maybe contemplated having another fight as a purple belt and stuff. So, you know, we knew that whenever we were training for MMA, it wasn't in the gi.
Right.
I mean, we're always doing no gi because we knew we had to train the way we were going to fight. So I was like, yeah, let's do it. Whatever, you know, like if you think that's the thing, let's do it. And I didn't even know who Eddie Bravo was. Like I've been hearing his name and I knew that we were training his techniques, but like I wasn't like a fan. Like I know like a lot of guys now that have never met him know everything there is to know about Eddie Bravo.
When guys come visit, it's crazy how much they know, and you're like, that's impressive. I don't even know that much.
They have his playlist on their iPods, and they have like all his music, and they like know everything there is to know, and that wasn't the case with me. Because like I said, I didn't care. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like I was such I don't know. It didn't matter to me. I just wanted to win.
Ruben with
like,
the good hair don't care.
It was all about me, I guess, in that way. You know what I mean? Like as long as I'm winning, I don't care whose technique, who's what's what. But then we were granted official 10th Planet status. And so then now it was time to learn everything there was to know. And so then I started
Were you a brown belt at this time?
I was still a purple belt. Okay. But I did become a brown belt, I think, soon after that, maybe like 6 months after we became an affiliate or something. And then I started really trying to learn everything very well. And even to this day, I feel like I still could do a better job of, you know, in comparison to other guys. Not that I don't know, but there's so much. There's so much. I mean, every time I visit and I'm training with Eddie, and he starts talking to me and teaching me techniques and transitions and things like that. And I'm like, oh man, like,
I don't know shit.
I forgot about that.
I don't know shit.
No, I forgot. Well, because, you know, we got the books and we got Mastering the System, and I do follow all that stuff, but there's still even more than that.
We were doing on Saturday, we were like, was the London Control? Or
London. Yeah. We were talking to Denny.
I know. We're like, it's going to come back.
Yeah.
London's going to make a comeback. Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry for anybody who doesn't get that reference. It's a super old school reference.
Yeah. And so, and then I got my black belt 7.5 years into jiu-jitsu.
That's fast. Yeah. That's amazing.
Yeah. And so the brown belt was actually the belt that I held the longest.
Okay.
Yeah.
What, 7 months? 8 months?
No, I think I held it for
3 weeks.
3 years, I think.
It's a tough one. I remember when I was starting and I was a white belt, and just even purple belt seemed so like, whoa, it's a purple belt. And then brown belts, because we had no black belts at that time. So if you were a brown belt, like when guys got their brown belt, you were just like, dude, like that's a certified ninja right there. Like, because black belt just seemed so completely out of the question. Yeah. You know, when guys started getting your black belt at 10th Planet, you're like, dude, oh my God, black belt. Like it seemed like such a foreign concept because we had none for such a long time. Yeah. Eddie really, really, really held out on the black belts until, I don't know, has he had conversations with you guys about this? Like, I feel like it was one of those things that he really, really wanted to make sure that 10th Planet was strong before he started promoting guys to black belt. There were a lot of guys that held brown belts for a long time. a very long time.
Yeah, well, I think Denny maybe explained it the best on Saturday when he said, like, the first goal was to build champions.
Mm-hmm.
We wanted to win. We wanted to win tournaments. We wanted people to know what it was and who we were and all of that. And so I think that was the first goal. And then after that, it became about opening schools.
Mm-hmm.
We want to spread the 10th
gospel.
Spread the 10th planet gospel, and so that became the focus, And so then now we got 60 schools or over 60 schools worldwide.
I feel like we've already hit like 70.
No, we're still in the 60s.
You think?
Yep. I just looked not too long ago.
Oh.
Yeah.
Has he updated it though? Because I feel like there was like
it's pretty
10
updated.
schools this year.
Scott Elkin does a good job at keeping them pretty updated. Yeah.
And then now I feel like Eddie's really trying to spread the no-gi movement, submission only.
Submission only's, it's gaining traction for sure.
Yeah, and so he's done a very good job there, and I think he feels like he's accomplished that, maybe not to the full extent, but I feel like he's like, okay, we got some momentum.
He's
the wheels
getting
are
over.
rolling.
Well, so
and
speaking of the submission only movement, EVI was yesterday.
Yeah, it was
for sure.
What are your thoughts? I mean, there were some awesome matches. What are your thoughts?
Well, I felt like it was the best EBI ever, but
Wow.
but hold on, let
Wow.
me finish. The reason was because I got to watch it live. It was the first one I watched live.
Right, it was
so
his
it
first.
was
It's a great energy, isn't
exactly
it? It's
the
really cool to
energy.
be there.
He was the EBI
And so
version.
you don't get to experience that unless you're there live.
Yeah.
And so it's not that it's not as exciting, but it's different when you're watching
sure.
it on a TV or a computer screen or on a projector like
Sure.
we do at our gym.
We have
it's
the
just not
environment.
same.
You have like the crowd.
And you have the crowd full of people and people who know. It's so cool because
And it's like a little gathering of,
of our people.
It's a reunion
but
kind of.
even more so, it's a room full of nerds who really care about jujitsu
Yeah.
and they care about each and every movement. So when you go to a UFC fight and there's
it's
there's the
jujitsu?
noobs, but there's the noobs that have not even the noobs, the people that don't care about the sport, that are just there for the entertainment value.
Yeah.
And so they're like, knock him out, and they don't care.
Or
But
when
then-
there's jujitsu and they start booing.
Right. But then you're in a room full of us, our people, and somebody, does one thing that somebody who's watching, like I was sitting,
A guard pass. And we're like, wow.
there was a woman behind me that was maybe there with her boyfriend. I don't know who she was. She was maybe somebody's date. She had no clue. And every time the crowd was like, ooh, nice. She was like, what just happened? Why did he just do that? Why doesn't he stand up? Why are they doing that?
Why is it
What's the big deal? Why did he do that? And I was like, shut up.
Shut up, lady. Yeah, it's funny.
But all of us.
It
were
is. It is a different crowd, though. The crowd is very educated because,
Yeah.
most people who are there are jiu-jitsu practitioners. But we did have a guy yesterday
Oh,
that I heard that was like, boo.
What?
Boring.
Who was booing?
Wait.
I don't know.
I didn't
How
hear
did he
it.
not get punched in the
I
face
heard
or
somebody.
choked?
I
from
heard
right?
somebody yell boring, and both me and Nate laughed, and we were like, "Oh, that guy does exist here," because it's usually at
Like,
MMA
bro,
fights.
you're in the wrong audience.
Yeah, exactly. It's usually MMA fights when you're watching the UFC at a bar or whatever that the
Right.
guys are like, boring, fucking hit him,
Yeah.
or whatever. And there was the one guy, but it was the Eduardo Tellez match.
Oh, the turtle.
The
match.
turtle.
Yeah.
Turtle guard.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I actually thought I was interested in that match. I didn't see his first match. I was outside talking to Rose Gracie. What's up, Rose? So I only saw his second match. But
Okay, go back and watch his first one then.
Okay, I will. But look, I get it. I understand why everybody was not
She
happy.
understands. She doesn't necessarily agree.
Yeah, I was more amazed by his ability to just be in turtle guard and not I was like, damn, he got out of that. Whoa, he got out. Look at his ability to defend. I know not everybody finds a completely defensive match entertaining, but I was just kind of amazed at his defense ability, I guess.
Yeah. Well, I think we see that in the jiu-jitsu world. So even Eddie Bravo.
Mm-hmm.
So when I first started doing jiu-jitsu, and we actually had a guest instructor come teach for about 6 months, and he's a Brazilian from Checkmat, black belt, really good. And I remember being like, well, what about Eddie Bravo? And he's like, no, Eddie Bravo's no good.
Yeah,
He's no good. His technique's no good. Salo Ribeiro,
Hubbard guard no good.
yeah, he's like, Hubbard guard, you got to be very flexible. He's like, it's not very good technique. And Eddie Bravo doesn't compete, he told me. That's what he told me. And this is a real thing. Like, not
I get it. I get why somebody would say that,
Eddie
yes.
competed one time, and then he...
For sure.
Or not one time, I'm sorry. after Abu Dhabi, I don't think we saw him compete again.
Not a lot.
So,
No.
I think people look at that and they're like, oh, it was a one-time thing. They thought he got lucky.
It was a fluke.
It was a fluke, right? And so then we see Eddie Bravo come back from Metamoris, and it was the same kind of thing. Eddie was trying to prove something,
Yeah.
right?
Of course.
He was trying to prove that it's
Prove
a
that it
real
wasn't a
thing,
fluke.
and that it wasn't a fluke,
Yeah.
and that the 10-planet system is legit and
Yes.
effective. And we saw that, right? We saw him go quarter guard to lockdown. He used all his own shit. Well, not people would argue quarter guard isn't his and all what blah blah
Of course
blah.
not. But it was textbook.
His strategies.
10th planet
Yes,
strategy.
it was
Yes.
textbook Eddie Bravo 10 planet strategy. You know, lockdown, electric chair, all his stuff. He utilized all his things up to the vaporizer.
Yeah.
You know, and all this stuff, right? And Eddie was trying to prove something. And so looking at a guy like Eduardo, I see another guy who's trying to prove
Sure.
something. He's trying to prove his system works defensively.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, he
it
was
different.
pretty effective defensively.
It was effective. And he wanted to go the entire
That's what he
DBI.
told Eddie.
He said he was going to get to the finals on pure defense.
Yeah.
He wasn't interested in the money because he wasn't going to make any money if he won on defense.
He wanted to just
He
prove
was
a point.
proving that his system was effective at the highest level.
I was personally impressed with his defensive skills.
Yeah.
I know. Look, I know. I see your face.
It was
but
impressive.
I was right there. I happened to get, thanks Chris O'Dell, I happened to get fucking awesome seats. We were right, like I was right there at the stage. And so I'm just like watching his face all the time. I was like, I was honestly amazed by his defensive skills.
Yeah.
I don't argue that his defensive skills aren't good. It just what it made for a match is what.
Well, I saw him fight Fogelin, so that was an exciting match. Fogelin, by the way, whoa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Him, yeah. I'll give you that.
There was a lot of people last night that I was like,
Oh,
damn.
There were some good ones.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fogelin looked really good. But I think, which was the match that he went to overtime?
Kyle
Kyle
Griffin.
Kyle.
That was a good
Kyle Griffin.
match.
Whoa.
Kyle.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Who made it all the way to
He's
the
the
finals
one that
against
made it to
Gordon
the
Ryan.
finals,
Yeah.
yeah.
before that, Fogelin, who did he go against before Kyle?
That I don't.
I have the worst memory.
Me too.
But here's what I remember. I remember that when he got up after he finished his match prior to Kyle, he stood up and you saw him stumble a little bit. And I was like, oh, he's tired.
Yeah.
And he still went against Kyle. And he
Wasn't that the
Yes.
overtime arm
Yeah,
bars?
the
overtime
arm bars
Oh
where they-
my
I thought
god!
both of their arms
I thought
broke. We were like, I don't know if they're gonna be able to.
and so
Yeah.
Fogelin's arm got hurt too in the armbar, right?
Yeah.
You saw him holding his arm.
Oh yeah,
and
he
rubbing
definitely
it,
got
and-
hyperextended. He's
I'm
hurting
curious
today.
how
They
both
all
of them are feeling
Yeah.
today.
And then it was his turn, and he almost had him. He almost had him.
It was that 22.
fucking
That's
crazy, right?
It was 20. He had 22 seconds to finish that armbar.
Yeah, and he almost did it.
Yeah.
But Kyle was like, nope. not
Kyle was
gonna
like,
tap.
you can break
Not
my arm.
tapping.
I'm not tapping.
Yeah, I'm gonna run the clock or
Yeah.
whatever.
Oh my god!
And
that
so
was painful to watch.
So I know backstage, they went up to Kyle and they were like, "Hey, dude, like, do you want Fogelin to step in for you? Cause, you know, like your arm.
We saw your arm.
How's your arm?"
Yeah.
And Kyle's like, "Nope, I'm gonna go out there." And I feel like he went out because I think that's what anybody competitor,
would. Of course.
any high level competitor would do.
Of course.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Rather go out on your
If
shield than
if
anything
I can,
else. Yeah.
I will.
Yeah.
You know,
Absolutely.
unless I absolutely can't. Unless
Of
my arm
course.
is dangling and I have no
course.
use of it, I'm gonna go out there.
I
and I'm
respect
gonna
that.
do it. And so he did.
We all would have done that.
You know, but some people thought that maybe he should have gave Fogelin the chance. But at the same time, I'm like, Fogelin was tired.
Yeah.
I saw it.
Well,
You
and
know what I
Kyle
mean?
won the match. He won the match by
Yeah.
the rules
Yeah.
that were set.
But even if Fogelin had got in there, I don't think he would have.
You don't
Because
think
you know what EBI does to people is like at the end, by the finals, you have one person who has already expended a lot of energy.
Getting there,
Right?
yeah.
Either because they had really tough matches that went, you know,
If they all went to
long
overtime,
distance,
yeah.
or some of them go to overtime. And so you have one guy who's had that kind of path to get to the finals, who's expended a lot of energy, and then you have one guy who just looks fresh.
Yeah.
You know, and I feel like Gordon Ryan just looks
He did at the
fresh.
beginning of
had
that
gone
match.
into-
Yeah.
I mean,
He's
he
like-
had a little more.
He did.
a little more rest time, I guess, in between his previous match.
Yeah.
But
I also think
it went
he's
to
got that
overtime
young
too.
guy energy.
And
Yeah.
it's
He's
not
still
to
got
say,
the young,
and it's not to say that he wasn't tired, that he didn't expend a lot of energy.
He looked
in
like
his
he was a
matches.
little out of breath, but like he was
But
good to go.
before his matches, he's sitting on the thing where they have them
On the
wait, and
riser,
he's dangling his feet, and
He's
he's
just
got
like,
his
doo-doo-doo.
headphones
He looks
in.
pretty fresh.
And he
we all
looks fresh,
commented
yeah.
on that. Yeah.
And so, man, like, I just don't know. Like, I think some people would like to see him have a tougher finals match.
Yeah.
Is probably what they wanted. But I don't think that would have been the
Look,
case
Gordon's
necessarily.
on his upswing right now.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
he's on that rise to the top. Obviously, he's not going to maintain that forever. He's a human being, but he is on his upswing.
It's his time right now.
It is his time, and we are seeing greatness. You know, I think it's. I love the sport for what it is. I'm gonna cheer for everybody who's doing awesome things in the sport, and I think it's really cool because he's making history for our sport. We're gonna look back on Gordon Ryan as one of the greats.
It's a beautiful thing for sure to watch the evolution of jiu-jitsu and to see these guys like Gordon Ryan coming in and elevating the sport, because now everybody is looking at that and saying, like, everyone trying to solve the puzzle.
Yeah.
Solve it, right? Like, what are the Danaher boys doing that is making them so good?
Right.
Like,
What's the formula?
what do we got to do? You know, I think everyone is looking at them in that way, you know. And maybe some people aren't, you know, some people like maybe are anti-leg lock. Like, I don't need to learn the leg locks. I just need to learn how to stop them, you know. But then you see Gordon Ryan.
See most people go in there and they're like, they keep their feet away. They're like, nope, you can't have my feet.
Well, and then
the only one that played footsie with him yesterday was Mike Hillebrand.
Yeah.
He's the one that went in and he's like, fuck it, I'll play it.
Right.
I'll play your game.
And then Gordon, John Danaher went on and did an interview and said, you know, he thought he was like, my respect to Michael Hillebrand or something, he said. And he's like, you know, it was the first time I've seen somebody emulate the same strategies that we're using or something like that.
I saw Danaher talk to Hillebrand right after the match, too. They talked for a few minutes. So.
That was awesome
figured,
representation of 10 Planet Mike.
He did.
Yeah.
I'm just impressed that he wanted to go in and play. You know, nobody wanted to do that.
Which, and maybe,
respect.
So,
and maybe,
for him.
like, I don't want to talk shit or whatever, but at the same time, I'm just like, to me, it seemed like kind of like a backhanded compliment a little bit.
I see what you're saying. Like, oh, good for you for being brave enough to do what we do. And it's like, look, dude, we're badasses too.
I guess it depends on how he would have said that. I mean, I could see where it could be taken that way, but that's...
And I don't know. Not that he's claiming that he invented leg locks or leg lock positions. I think those have been around a lot longer than most people. They're just now popular. And so I think strategies.
Sure.
You know, they are using strategies, leg lock strategies to get the finish, and maybe that's what he was referring to. Like, that Hillebrand was emulating the strategies, because to say that you're emulating the leg locks or I don't know, I'm like,
you're taking ownership of them.
You're claiming you made it up, but I don't know. I didn't watch the entire video, so I also, like I said, I don't want to be that guy. But yeah, Hillebrand looked amazing.
Press release from Danaher's publicist, please.
Yeah,
I'm kidding.
Hillebrand looked amazing in his first match. He just went in there.
Oh my God.
I think everybody.
I got a picture of his hands up.
That was what, like 30 seconds.
Everybody
first
thought
match?
Tex right was gonna be the dark horse. Like, they're like, this guy could win the whole thing, and then Hillebrand just comes out and heel hooks.
That was
him
awesome
in like
representation.
2 minutes.
It was like quick.
less than 2 minutes. Yeah, it was fast, and everyone was like, oh, cool. Oh, all right. Hillebrand looks sharp. And then we see Hillebrand go against Gordon Ryan in the second round, and then he looked sharp too. Well, no, he looked really
great.
good.
Yeah, that was
comes out.
That was by no means an uneven matchup. That was a fantastic matchup.
Yeah.
He comes out, sits guard. Ryan steps in. I think Hillebrand goes inverted or something, throws up double outside Ashi.
Yeah.
And then Gordon's kind of like, not that he's not respecting it, but he looks a little relaxed in double outside.
He straightened his leg.
Yeah.
He had his leg
and then Hillebrand goes to grab the other leg. So now he's got both legs, both legs.
And there was that moment of like, oh shit.
And then,
breath,
and then I noticed Gordon's demeanor change, because it was like, oh, he knows what he's doing.
This is for real.
Because you always got to control both legs when you can. You know, and so then I felt like then he started actually respecting the technique and started defending well, and you know, like all of it. And so I think that's what they were impressed by. You know what I mean? Is that I feel like a lot of guys who are just delving into leg locks, they get to Ashi, or they get to double outside Ashi, and they just
forget about the
forget
other
about
leg.
everything
They're
else,
just
and they're just like hyper focused on the heel hook.
on the heel. Yeah.
And it's like the old saying, right? Position before submission. And I think that's very important in leg locks. You have to be able to secure the position first, and a lot of times it's controlling that other leg.
Yeah.
You know, before you can get to the submission. And so I think they were I think that's one of the reasons they were impressed by Hildebrandt's strategy.
Yeah.
You know, because he was doing all the right things. You know,
Close.
he didn't just get heel hook happy. You know, just get in there and just go for the heel, and forget about everything else. And then it just guys are scrambling and rolling and hopping over and, you know, doing whatever. I was like, no, it was very controlled. It was very precise, slow, and controlled movement on Hildebrandt's part. So
What do you think the next evolution of jiu-jitsu is? Like, if you had a thesis, you know how heel hooks are just the thing right now, and it's, you know, everybody is like,
where does it go from here?
Yeah, where does it go from here?
After heel hooks become the norm?
Yeah.
Then where does it go?
I have a thought.
Yeah. Tell me your thought.
Well, you were first.
Well, I'm still thinking, so I'll think while you say.
I was just thinking with everything going EBI rules and being, you know, overtime being spiderweb in the back, that one of those positions.
Oh, next evolution is spiderweb. Spiderwebs
Or
become,
the back, like focus on the back and, you know,
All the
why am I being yanked on over here?
Oh, because
am I?
my foot's stuck. Sorry. I'm wearing boots. I didn't feel that.
I'm being dragged down.
Sorry, I'm wearing boots.
But yeah, I mean, something like that maybe, since so many people are starting to use the EBI rules
All right.
for everything. I don't know. That's just the thought.
I
Black belt?
think what happens once everybody catches up,
Well, the defense, I guess,
and
legs.
once the defense is on par with the offense, or maybe beyond, right, where maybe heel hooks aren't working anymore,
Okay.
like, then it goes back to being more traditional again. It becomes about passing
We go full
the guard.
circle?
We go full circle, I think.
Okay.
We go full circle, and we go back to passing the guard, getting position, side control, mounting, setting up submissions.
So
you know what I mean?
work your way around and
in a
work
way,
down the body again.
In a way, I feel like leg locks was the biggest hole that there was in jiu-jitsu, because there wasn't really many.
Well, because
Okay.
it also
So then it
wasn't
becomes
allowed
just part
for
of
a lot
So
of
everything.
I think once that's over and everybody catches up and it becomes the norm, then we go full circle. Yeah, we go back. We go
Okay.
back to all the things we were doing before.
I like it.
You know,
I like it.
Yeah, because even full guard, like we saw, I can't remember his name, the Brazilian.
Oh yeah.
Late,
The one we were all yelling
Lucas-
at when he was
Lucas-
in the the vaporizer.
Lucas Leish.
Oh, grab the
So
toes.
the second row was entirely 10th Planet people. There was a whole bunch of UFC fighters like
So
Kelvin
Frank
Gastelum and
Mir,
some of his
right?
boys were in the front of us in Eddie's seats, and then we were in the Datsusara seats in the second row, and it was all 10th Planet people. And he's in the vaporizer, and we're all yelling at him. We're like, grab the toes! And I'm like, how do you say toes in Portuguese? And his friend who was sitting in front of me turns around, he goes, he speaks English.
Oh, okay. We'll grab the toes.
And yeah, so I think that really is what happens. Like when Gary Tonin went against Karin Darvinian, right? Both very high level,
Yes.
highly skilled leg lockers. Neither of them could finish heel hooks on each other. And so then how did Gordon
They
win?
had to go back to other stuff.
Yeah, you go back
Yeah.
to the traditional stuff, the back control and the rear naked chokes and stuff like that.
I like
So
it.
I really do think that we go
So it'll
full
just
circle.
become
And
part
we
of the
saw Gordon's
the
rear
basic,
naked choke.
Not basic, but it just becomes part of
Yes.
your arsenal.
And
It
so
just-
what happens, or we just saw Eddie Cummins to win again, and he won 2 of his matches by rear naked choke.
Nice,
correct, in his
because
last
everybody
one.
knows Eddie's coming for your ankles.
Exactly, and so people come into EBI and they're like, well, I might face Eddie Cummins, and so what do?
Yeah.
You train heel hook and heel hook defense and positions and all of that. But then what we found is like, okay, you start to defend Eddie Cummins' heel hooks, you start to escape, you start to move, and then all of a sudden he's on your back. Now
Yeah.
he's working towards getting on your back. He's arm dragging, taking your back, and choking you.
Yeah.
And so then, like I said, it
It
goes full circle,
evolutionizes
right?
them
That makes
too.
sense.
They have to
Yeah.
start working on other stuff too, or
Right.
polishing up.
Or like Eddie Cummins said, he's like, I'm also really good at other stuff. Like people think I'm a heel hook guy, but they
Right.
forget that I have a whole foundation
That makes sense.
In jiu-jitsu and the basics, you know what I mean? And I think that's a real thing. And so it's like I have leg locks, but I also have all this other stuff, you know.
Well, it's what we see. It's what we see in the tournaments. That's
I
what
like
everybody's
it.
going off of.
So I have another question for you as a black belt. And I'm really interested to hear your opinion, especially as somebody who advanced as quickly as you did.
Which I feel like is kind of not a bad thing, but like I feel like a rookie. I'm like a rookie.
No. I mean, there are guys that advanced quicker than you, and there are guys that were on a much longer path, and that all of those are legit. I mean, if you took the hour spent on the mat, yours just happened to be a little bit more condensed because of the hours you were in there. A lot of people didn't have the ability to be a full-time instructor, so there's that. But I have an opinion on CM Punk and fighting in the UFC. I'd love to hear yours.
Yeah, well, I know. I've seen the Facebook stuff. I've seen the things that people are saying. I know you hear things like, my respect to CM Punk for like getting in there and doing it. It takes a lot of balls to do it.
It's true.
And then I hear
I
fighters.
Yeah.
Then
I'm on the other team.
That it doesn't take balls to go in there and do it?
Well, hold on. Then you read the fighters who say it does take balls to go into the ring, but we work our asses off and we've dedicated our lives to the sport to get a chance, a shot to fight in the UFC, and we don't get it.
Yep.
And so why is this guy who
balls are it's ball.
Are you gonna do the Betty White thing?
No, what I'm gonna say is, so what? You had balls to get in there. There's probably a lot of people that would, if you gave them the opportunity, would have the balls to get into the cage. I thought it was incredibly disrespectful to think that 1 year of training qualifies you. 2 years of training qualifies
I agree with you
to
with
get
that
on the
100%.
biggest platform in the sport.
But it was offered to him.
It was, and I get it.
Should he have said, no, that's all right,
He
I'm
should
gonna
have
go.
shown respect to the guys that he's getting in the cage with and done his time.
Okay. Yeah.
My opinion. And
Sure.
look, CM Punk's a big, huge
Well,
superstar.
I think most
and I'm
people
on
are
a
gonna
little
go-
tiny podcast. Who cares what my opinion is?
And
You know what
people
I
are
mean?
going to go where the money is. If
For sure.
somebody's going to offer you that, they're going to take it.
I
and-
get it. I understand why he did what he did. And it is my opinion that it was super disrespectful.
Okay. I understand
Well,
that. That makes sense.
I think what they try to do was recreate what Brock Lesnar did. Right? Brock Lesnar, same kind of guy.
Yeah. I
Comes in,
am not a fan of Lesnar.
Long wrestling career, professional wrestling career, comes in and actually becomes champion in the UFC.
He's
and does very
kind
well.
of a physical anomaly.
Exactly. But then I think the UFC or whoever, somebody thought they could recreate that. They're like, we'll do the same thing with CM Punk. How cool would that be?
I get it. I don't not understand what happened.
Right.
But there's so many guys that we know that have dedicated their life and spent thousands of
and
hours
don't even get
an
opportunity.
I mean,
and then this guy gets put on the main card of all things.
Yeah. And so I think they learned their lesson. I think the UFC learned their lesson.
No, they didn't.
No, they probably made money.
No.
Of course they didn't.
No, this happens with everything.
Oh,
This happens.
he's awake.
It happens in every. Well, I didn't watch EBI because I was working. But everyone I watch this is a money making thing at the end.
Oh,
and
of
that's
course.
That's literally all they care about. They don't care about anyone's feelings.
Yep.
They don't care about, because everyone, like in any job, people get jobs because of who their fathers are. This is like any job, and honestly, if you talk to Dana, anyone who just bought the UFC, they would take a shit on
They're
anyone's
like zero
10 years.
fucks given.
Yeah, they don't care. They don't care.
Tell me about my gate.
At
Like,
all.
I thought it was
Yeah.
interesting in the post fight that he was like crying about his loss, and we're like,
You're like, yeah, dude, you lost. Of course you did.
yeah, but like you said, he hasn't poured his heart and soul into this to be up there.
Like, there's a lot of UFC
being
fans
that
that
way.
if you get, hey, bro, we're going to send
And
you
it wasn't
into,
a championship
the
fight. It
Rufus
wasn't-
gym for the next 2 years, and you get to dedicate your life to training. We could get a list of 1,000 people that would
in
sign
5
up
minutes.
to do that.
Yeah.
You're not special because you took an opportunity. What you did is shit on a sport that you claim to want to be a part of.
Yeah.
Really? All right. Okay. Cool. I hope all your wrestling fans and I hope the paycheck is worth it, but is it worth no respect from
the entire
the
most of the
community?
community. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think they'll give him another fight?
Probably, because it's about money. They don't even pretend to not, you know what I mean? Like, the UFC doesn't
They don't pretend, but that was
to
2 minutes and
care.
14 seconds of
Bullshit.
like
How much money did he make?
What did he
CM
do?
Punk?
Probably a lot. Do
nothing
we know?
happened. He didn't do anything.
I can look it up. Let's see.
So okay, I just wanted to hear.
Yeah.
And I wanted to rant a little bit because I have a platform. It's called a podcast, and
Right.
I can do what I want.
And wanted to
Yeah,
say
I
how
don't
I
know.
felt.
I mean, well, if you're a guy, if you're like CM Punk, and you're like, I want to try
I get
MMA.
500
like,
grand.
500 grand? Half a
I
million?
get it. I
Like
I
I want,
get it.
I want to try. I want to do MMA. Like I want to see what that's like. Maybe that really
So
was
then
the
go
case.
fight Rage in the Cage.
Exactly.
And,
Do you do
you know,
that? Or
Get a couple warm-up
if
fights
somebody,
and see where you're at before
if the
you
UFC's
jump
like,
in.
yeah, dude, totally come fight for us.
Yeah.
Wasn't
What
that
do you
from
think?
what I
Again,
understand? That's what
what
happened,
of
right?
course it
Dana
is.
called him and said, "Hey, I heard you want to do.
No.
Why don't you come over here? Do it on our."
Yeah.
Everybody
I got this
understands
little organization.
The organization, like everybody understands what happened. It's the spirit of the energy around it. Like, what do you want? Do you want the paycheck and you want to say you did it, or do you really want to be a part of a sport? Because either you're a caricature,
Do you want to legitimize yourself in this?
either you're a
uh,
caricature getting
yeah.
a paycheck, or you really want to be a part of the sport. And for those of us who dedicate our lives to the sport
Right.
and really have respect for everybody who steps on the canvas or the mats, then we'll never consider you one of us now.
Right, but the UFC is in the business of selling fights. I
Right.
think Chael Sonnen said it a while back, and he said it best. And he's like, the UFC isn't the Olympics. We're not like actually trying to figure out who the best of the best
Oh,
is.
yeah, there you
it's
go.
not a real
Yeah.
thing.
Okay.
It's just like
It's
jiu-jitsu.
not a real thing.
It's just like jiu-jitsu right now.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like we have
We have
world
wor-
champions
we
of
have-
IBJJF. We have Abu Dhabi champions, and some of them,
There was world
do both,
titles all
and-
over the place.
Yeah, but we
Yeah.
don't have a unified thing of like we're gonna figure out. We're gonna start regionally, and then we're gonna go nationally, and then we're gonna go country versus country, and we're gonna figure out who the best of the best truly is
Okay.
on a world scale. That doesn't exist. It doesn't exist in jiu-jitsu, and it doesn't exist in MMA either.
Yeah.
And I think that hardcore fight fans want to see that. They're like, well, why are they putting so-and-so against so-and-so? Why wouldn't they put him against so-and-so to figure out who the best really is? And it's not about necessarily who the best is a lot of times.
No,
it's
it's
who's
about
going
the
to sell
paycheck,
fights. They're in the business of selling fights and making money.
Yeah. I
They're
get
a
it.
business.
I understand that. Conceptually, I understand that.
But it still bugs you.
It bugs the shit out of me.
That's always been a thing. That's always been a confusing part of even in jiu-jitsu for me is that people have world titles, but like you said, there's no regional and then national, and that's what I grew up with.
I have
was,
3 Gracie world titles.
See, I have
Does
a
that make me?
Gracie.
Does that make me a world
we
champion?
should change our.
Depends on who you're asking.
We should
Change my
change our
Instagram to world
bios
champion.
to world champion.
champion.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
There you go.
but yeah, I grew up in a sport where they did just that. We had regional competitions, and only the top 3 from that competition could go to the national competition, and then the top 3 from that
Yeah.
would go.
But there is
represent.
no governing body. You're right.
So,
okay.
that's why the whole in jiu-jitsu, everybody's saying I have a world title, but it didn't go through all those
Right.
qualifications.
It was whoever showed up on that day.
Exactly.
You know.
Who was
And who
willing
had the
to
best
travel
day, yeah.
from
Who
wherever.
flew to Long Beach
Who could
on
afford to
that
fly
day.
out to wherever
Yeah.
to.
And who had the best day?
Yeah.
Exactly. So.
Hey, what'd you think of Verdum showing zero respect? He was like, 0 fucks given. I have 0 respect for you. Here's my foot.
Here's my foot.
When he did the flying kick,
Yeah.
or when he push kicked Edmund.
All of
I
that.
still haven't-
All of that was I have 0 respect for you. Like that to me, that's what that whole thing said. Was like, I'm not even gonna pretend to show you respect.
I saw the flying kick. Was that coming in on
That
the
was
very
coming
first
off
match?
of a mat. That was coming. I don't know what round that was because I didn't see it live.
Was
the
it
first
supposed to
round.
be
That
like?
was opening the
first round.
fight.
So that was like.
okay, so that was
So the ref,
So
are you
that's-
ready? Are
fuck
you
your
ready?
face.
Before
So
the
that's
ref
in
can
the
even
mo-
really get out of the way, he's already running.
Wait,
Like,
when
So
you think
that's
of
in
that.
the moment when usually the fighters go up and they're like, "All right, cool,"
Yeah.
fist
Shake
bump,
let us
and
have
then
this
go.
sporting event, sir.
And he just went in for the.
Let's engage in fisticuffs.
Okay.
No, I mean, I think Fabrizio's a really good fighter. Like
He's definitely a really good fighter.
He's evolved like from when he started to today. Like we've
Yeah.
seen him he gets better every time he fights. He really
Mm-hmm.
does, and I think it's great. I love it. It's a
Is there-
fight.
is
It's
there
a fight.
some
We can be
backstory?
we can be
Fight,
friends after we fight.
Okay.
When I first
think
I
any-
love seeing the foot come in right. Like we didn't even really see it live. The foot just came in sort of through the screen. He started getting kicked in the face.
I don't think it's bad sportsmanship to not shake somebody's hand or to come in
'Cause you're
and
in there to
touch
fight,
gloves.
yeah.
It's optional.
Okay.
You can or you can't do it. Doesn't mean I hate you.
Yeah.
It just means like
But
I'm here
that
to do
did
business.
kind of indicate that you can tell when fighters respect each other, and then you can tell when you're like, fuck you.
Was there a
I mean, who
backstory to
knows?
them?
Who
Did
knows
they
if
have
there's
like some beef?
some sort of backstory?
I have no
or
idea,
anything
but
like
that-
They
that.
fought
just-
once before.
But
Yeah.
usually you hear. I mean, usually the UFC
And
is going to
who
play
won
off
the
all that
fight
fucking
before?
beef. If
I
there
don't know
is.
anybody in the sport
Okay.
that likes Edmund except for the people that train with him.
Yeah, he seems to be not a very nice guy.
Oh,
The
that
coach?
Edmund. Oh, well, yeah.
It's hard to know. And then they said that Edmund pushed him or like put.
No,
He
he
was
was
definitely
talking-
saying something to him. I don't know if
But
he
yeah,
pushed him.
I remember I saw that. We all saw that on video.
Yeah.
But apparently, somebody claims that there was some
push?
contact that happened as well. Like maybe
Yeah.
like saying something and gave him one of these or
I just
something.
appreciate the teep kick and what it can like. A teep kick is just Cowboy. You guys all heard Cowboy on Joe Rogan when he was talking about some dude was like trying to fight him on a beach and he was like, I just teeped him and sat him down. I just teeped him because it's like
Yeah.
you know, if you are super skilled at that particular kick, you're just like, this is just what it is. I'm just gonna teep you, and so you know where the power is coming from.
You know what you're dealing with. You
Yeah,
know to
not
stop.
a lot of damage for sure.
Yeah.
Like if you punch somebody in the face, you
that
break their
that
nose,
you could do
knock
something,
their
but a
teeth
teep
out.
kick is just, I'm gonna let you know
right.
what page we're both on.
What you're getting involved in right now.
Yeah.
What you're dealing
Yeah,
with.
for sure.
Just want to make sure we're all on the same page.
So yeah, I don't know. Fabrizio doesn't give a shit. He's there to
Zero
fight.
fucks
He's
given.
there to fight.
Yeah.
You know. I was gonna say.
But he hasn't always been that way. Like
No,
why?
sometimes he's respectful. That's why I'm saying
That's
this
why.
seems
Yeah. So why
specifically
this time?
uncharacteristic of
Yeah.
him.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so when I first started competing against other 10th Planet guys, because I didn't experience that back home. There wasn't another
Right.
10th Planet school. We were the only ones.
Who
So when
do
we
you remember your first 10th Planet guy you went up against?
when we would compete, I would compete against Gracie Baja guys or other
Yeah.
teams, and that was cool. That was normal. But then I start flying to California to compete,
And it's
and
like
now all of a sudden,
saturated.
my first match is against another 10 Planet guy.
And
Yeah.
your
And I
second
think the
match, your
first
third
one-
match.
I think my first 10 Planet match ever against another 10 Planet guy in comp
Mine
was
motherfucking-
Randall Dolph.
Oh,
really?
wow. After you both were black belts?
We were both brown belts at the time, I
All right.
think. Yeah. And so after that experience, not necessarily after that experience either, I think I competed against other 10th Planet guys too. But what I realized was that I was going in there and being friendly. Like, these
It's
are
hard
my
not to be.
friends.
These are your homies.
These are, and even though I
Yeah.
didn't know them, these were my teammates. These
Yeah.
were my guys. And then I changed that. I'm like, we can be friends after.
Right.
Okay.
If we compete against each other, I'm going to treat you just like any other competitor. And then after whatever happens,
Yeah.
then we can be friends, you know. And I think that's a better way to do it, so that you don't feel like you've cheated yourself.
Okay.
Right.
That's
You know
fair.
what I
It
mean?
is
Like,
a sport.
oh,
We're
I
here
was-
to be competitors. That
And I'm
makes
not saying I
sense.
was taking it easy on anybody or anything like that, but you do roll a little different when
For
it's
sure.
your friend, you know. And I don't do that anymore. You know, I go in there and I just roll the way
Yeah.
I roll, you know, and win or lose, we'll be friends afterwards.
All
you know,
right.
We'll
I
be
like it.
teammates afterwards, you know.
Hey, Beck, do
I
you feel
feel-
like you were able to do that in your match?
I mean, I think she did. I watched the
Yeah.
matches.
No, I'm asking about mentally.
Oh,
Were you
the
able to
pre-
separate yourself from the fact that that was your friend that you were rolling against?
I didn't really have that much time to let it sink in before it happened. So
But you weren't
it
like,
was.
you weren't pulling your punches, like as they would say. Like you were rolling the way you would roll with anybody.
I mean, I was rolling with. The other thing is, she's my teammate. Like I train at
Like
the
her
same
training
gym.
partner,
Yeah,
yeah.
So it's not just about another 10th Planet person. It's like I know her game. She knows my game. It was going in
Yeah.
with that in your head, you know. So I felt. I don't know. I kind of felt like that. Like we're gonna still be friends. And
Just handle the moment for what it is.
you know, when I had, certain positions, I was like, all right, well, like,
I don't feel like
We're
you hold
here-
any punches even in
and
training. I never feel like Becky's like, I'm just gonna loosen up on this head and arm triangle on Donna's neck real quick because I like her.
and I feel like with her also, I think that's something she understands too. I don't think I was worried about her being like, how dare you, crank this or try and,
Yeah.
whatever, use so much force or whatever. I don't think that, I wasn't worried about that with
Yeah.
her. So,
All right.
but
Cool.
But yeah, it was a little weird going into it. I'm like, fuck, I have to go against my teammate.
Yeah. I mean, it's never fun. I hate it.
It's the only time
I don't think
that's
any
the
of
only
us like
time
to
I
have to roll
went
against 10th Planet people.
It's the only time I had to go against another 10th Planet person, and it's my own training partner.
Yeah.
That's what sucked more. It wasn't that it was just another 10th Planet person. It was my own training partner.
Yeah, I mean, I saw Kevin Burbage last night, and I lost to him a week. Like, it feels like it was a week ago.
Right.
It was like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, I competed against him at Gracie Worlds, and I lost to him. And I hate it because Kevin's really nice. Like, he's just like the nicest guy.
He's a nice
if you
guy.
talk to him, he's just like the nicest guy. When I came for the EBI qualifiers, I didn't have a coach, and I could hear somebody coaching me, but I didn't know who it was. Well, later I found out it was Kevin, and I'm like, Kevin's coaching me? That was kind of weird, you know?
Yeah.
But he's just that guy.
But I
Like,
think
he's just,
any of us
he'll
would.
jump
he's
in
just
to
super
help
nice.
whoever-
He
yeah.
just
I think
jumped
any
in.
of us
He saw
would,
that I
though.
didn't have
Yeah.
a coach,
Yeah.
and he jumped in to help. And so then to have to go against that guy,
Yeah.
you know, is hard. But I knew that already. Going in, I was prepared. When they told me that I was going to go against Kevin, I told myself, we can be friends afterwards because I've already gone through this before, you know.
And you know he's a nice guy, and
Exactly.
he's probably going to see it the same way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so you go and do the thing. But at the end of the day, like, I still hate doing it.
Yeah,
Like, I still
sure.
hate competing against 10 Planet guys, but we have to do it.
There's so
Because
many of us now, there's no choice.
Yeah, there's no choice. It's
Yeah.
it's good for the system. It's good to figure it out. You know, we need to know who is going to represent 10th Planet Jiu-Jitsu at the highest level.
Sure.
Who is going to be the best representation.
Sure.
And so it's important for us to compete against each other,
Yeah.
you know, so that it's not
good point.
political,
Yeah.
right? We want to remove the politics of who's who
a good
in 10th
point.
Planet Jiu-Jitsu and
Yeah.
actually build a hierarchy.
I like it.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and Kevin was better than me on that day. You know, I'm not saying anything, but you know, I was like,
Yeah.
I got to go back and reevaluate. You know, my training, my jiu-jitsu, my technique, my diet, everything, and I'm still learning. I'm still getting better. You know, so.
So what? Speaking of, what are some words of wisdom? So for those of us who are
Still on the
different
come
in
up,
a different place on the journey than you are, that are still trying to figure out.
where this is going for us.
No, not even that. Just trying to figure out, like, what the best path for us is. You know what I mean? Like, what the best path for our diet is, and how to create our training to be
The better us.
Yes,
The best
to
us.
better us and to maximize our training and figure out. Like, I'm sure you know what your style is and what your strengths are, and we all know what our strengths are. But I feel like at black belt, you've established who you are, and that's the point of the rest of us where we are in our journey.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like as purple belt, I'm comfortable with my knowledge of the techniques, and now I have to figure out who I am to become a brown belt, because as a brown belt, maybe I need to establish my style. Am I saying this right? As far as where I'm supposed to be on my journey, I know what I'm good at, and I feel like I have a good understanding of the techniques. So, what are your guidance?
Yeah.
What is your guidance for me, or all of us?
I hate to give such a generic answer, but I'll kind of try to explain why I'm saying this. But I think it depends on what your goals are. Are you trying to be a world champion? Are you trying to be an instructor? Are you trying to be the best guy in the room? Like, what are you trying to do? Because all those things are different, and I'll tell you why. So as a black belt, an instructor, when I teach at school, it doesn't matter who is there or who shows up or who comes to visit. I have to roll with everybody, whether they weigh 155 or they weigh 215. I have to train with you.
Yeah.
So if I'm cutting weight for a tournament at 145, it's detrimental for me when I have to go against a guy that weighs 200 pounds, right? I would rather weigh 170 if I could. I'd rather weigh more, but I can't because I'm training to compete for this tournament. You know what I'm saying? And so it's different things. Like, I've heard other black belt instructors, they're like, oh, you cut weight for tournaments? Why do you cut weight?
You cut from 170 to 145?
160. I cut from 160. But that's my walk around weight.
EBI
That's with
qualifiers,
a
you
good
were
diet. If I
pretty small.
if I
AIDS patient.
yeah. If I let myself not, if I wasn't taking
You
care of
let
my diet,
yourself
whatever,
go.
yeah, I'd go to I think I could get to 170,
Sure.
and I'd actually like to do that someday. You know,
Talk
I
to
don't.
Jonathan.
I don't think.
You guys can
Yeah,
come up with it.
I don't think that it would make me the best competitor. I think I'd be a pretty small 170 or 155 or whatever. But it would be good for me being an instructor at my school.
Oh, interesting.
You know? Do you see what I'm saying? Do you see how the goals are different?
Mm-hmm.
Because I've heard other instructors, other black belts, they're like, you're cutting to 145. Like a lot of people can't even believe that I make same day 45. And
I saw you and I couldn't believe it.
Yeah. Even Scott Ross, because I was like, hey, Scott,
sunk in.
Scott, can I see the scale the day before
He's
so
like,
I can
who
see
are
where
you?
I'm at? And he's like, yeah, sure. So I show up to the gym and he sees me jump on the scale, and not the day before I was still like 8 pounds heavy.
Oh my God.
And he's just like, whoa, dude, fatty. And he starts like laughing and making fun of me. And then the next day I come in and make 45, and he's like, whoa. Because then Gio's boys come in, a couple of Gio students, and they're smaller guys, and one of them doesn't make weight, so they send them out to jog and cut like the last 0.2 pounds or whatever. And it was just funny, I think, to everyone, like that I was like way taller and looked physically bigger, but I was the one that made weight, and the smaller guys didn't, because they came in at whatever they were walking around at. But like, do you see what I'm trying to say? And so anyways, other instructors are like, why do you cut weight? Like, as an instructor, I'm trying to be as heavy as I can be, because I got to roll with everyone.
That makes
Do you
sense.
know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like Eddie Bravo, I think, is that way too. Like, he's got to roll with everyone that comes through the school, you know, regardless of their size or their skill or any of it. And so it's actually, when you're an instructor, when there's no weight class to be met, you want to be as heavy and as strong as you can be. You know,
so you're trying to find that middle place for you.
Not necessarily.
No,
I'm not the middle. Like, I'm either trying to be a world champion and I'm meeting my weight class, I'm at my weight class, or I retire and I get to be fat. You know what I'm saying? Not necessarily fat,
do
but
you
know,
have
like,
a
big and
specific
strong
goal that you would be willing to share with us right now? Like, what is it that Ruben's working for right now?
well, I think like this year I said I want to do, not even this year, I started last year, because I did like I competed like 6 times in 6 months or something last year. So I did like the Metamoris Challenger, and then I did the Metamoris qualifier, and then I did the Metamoris like the finals, and then I did a couple tournaments back home, and then I can't remember all of them, like what the names of all of them were, but I told myself that I was going to compete as much as possible, because like I'm 29 now, and not that I'm old or anything.
So old.
But you have Gary Tonins and you have Gordon Ryan's now, and you have these guys who are 22 years old, and it's different. You can see it, you know, as much as we don't want to admit it, as much as we're like, I could still hang, or I hang with those guys or whatever. It changes. It does change. And so you ask yourself, like, is this it? Like, not that I'm going to retire, but like, is this all I'm going to do? Like, is this my jiu-jitsu career? And so I wanted to see. I want to see where I'm at and how I can do. And so that's why I think you've seen me fly to do the EBI qualifiers. You've seen me fly here to do Gracie Worlds. You've seen me, like, I'm trying to find all the biggest tournaments. I'm about to go do the Abu Dhabi trials in New Jersey.
Wow.
Which again, I have to make 145 same day. And that's the other thing, is I'm like, maybe it's actually more detrimental, because I train at elevation. In Santa Fe, we're at 7,000 feet. And so we're supposed to
I feel like you're fucking suffocating.
We're supposed to be
well, you and I feel like we're suffocating.
It's supposed to be an advantage. It's supposed to be an advantage when you
Yeah.
come from elevation to train at sea level.
Yeah.
I remember getting off the plane coming back from Santa Fe, and
She was
like,
texting me. She's like, I can breathe.
I was like, I feel so alive. Like, I'm going straight to class from here. Like, I'm good to go. Like, that's when I really noticed it.
And so I don't feel like I have a huge advantage. And a lot of it is, I think, because of the weight cuts. You know, because the weight cut takes a lot out of you.
Right.
Yeah.
Because I walk around at, I think, like 8 or 9% body fat. So when I cut weight, it's like,
Such a
what are you
jeez.
cutting? You know what I mean? Like, there's no body fat to
Yeah.
cut. So it's
You're
muscle.
dehydrated.
You wouldn't have
and-
period
and
if you're a
water
woman.
weight.
You know that?
Yeah. There
You
go.
wouldn't. Seriously.
So it's like, it's all water, it's dehydration, and it's muscle mass. So then
And then you're giving up that muscle mass.
I'm
yeah.
robbing myself in a way. Like, okay, so you train at elevation, you're supposed to be more conditioned, but then I come in and I'm tired before the match starts, then it's not helpful. So then I'm like, why do I even cut weight? You know, and I've been having this conversation with several other high-level athletes, and there's kind of like people who say that you should cut weight, and then there's people that are like,
would you consider going up to 55?
It would be 55. You know, and so I look at like Giovanni Martinez. He does several weight classes, right? We've seen him compete at 45, where he doesn't cut. He pretty much goes in at his walk around weight, and then he's the champion of 135.
Yeah.
You know, so in a way, I'm just like, maybe I do that. You know what I mean? Like I would rather not feel tired.
Yeah.
Like, you know, and I think
Have you competed at 55?
yeah. Oh yeah. Like Nate, my buddy Nate seems to think I win more at 55. Like he's like, dude, every time you haven't cut weight.
The statistics
You,
of your
no,
matches?
I haven't. And that's the other thing. I don't.
Maybe you
look at it and
should.
do that.
But you know, it's one of those things like where the thought process is that you do the work, you do the strict diet, you do all the things, and then hopefully you come in as the bigger, stronger fighter or the bigger, stronger grappler. But that's not always the case. You come in as the larger, the physically larger grappler, but then oftentimes you're too depleted. Your energy levels are too depleted, and so then it like does size really matter?
Or maybe depending on the weigh-in situation, if it's same day.
Oh yeah, same day
versus
is a whole
day
different
before.
monster than
Yeah.
day before.
Yeah.
If you have 24 hours to rehydrate, it's a game changer. And so I don't know. I really don't know. Like when I tell you guys that I'm still learning, like there's all these things. Like high level competition is a different monster. Like even the boys that I saw yesterday, I feel like they're a level above me. You know what I mean? I know people are like, oh, you know, someday you're gonna be like. I get told like you're gonna be on the stage someday or whatever. But watching the fights yesterday, I ask myself. And I wonder if I'm even at that level, if I could even actually hang with those guys, you know. And so it's a hard question to ask yourself as a grappler, because like you said, you have these guys who are dedicating their lives now. Like the way we see it in MMA. Now we're starting to see that happen in jiu-jitsu.
Definitely. That's, I think, what Gordon Ryan's doing.
It's a real thing now. Now with EBI, these guys are actually making money. You know, they're actually able, and you know, it seems like a lot of money at the time if you make 25,000 or 20 or 15 or whatever it is, but it's really not that much
No,
when you
'cause
think
you have
about
to-
the training camp and the flights
but
and
everything
everything.
for
But
jiu-jitsu.
it's huge.
Yeah.
When in jiu-jitsu we haven't made any money.
That's true.
When we go to from zero to $20,000, well, fuck, man, that's a game changer.
You were seeing before, like, you know, big 500, like little cut, you know, those big board $500 or maybe $1,000.
Yeah, that was like that was a big thing, right?
Yeah, even the first
Dream.
EBI was what, like 1,500 or 2,000 maybe for each.
And a big ass trophy.
We're right in the middle of the evolution. Yeah.
Remember the
that?
trophy?
We're at the beginning of history.
They were tall. I think it was taller than Gio.
Yeah.
That trophy.
So we have a thing here. We usually call it the Women Crush Wednesday, but it's Monday. So our Women Crush
becomes
Monday.
a Man Crush Monday.
Oh, but you're a man crush. You and your hair.
Man crush every day.
But we want to give a big, huge shout out to Liz Carmouche. She won her special fight yesterday at EBI with a heel hook.
Like in like under 2 minutes.
Yeah,
also,
it was
right?
fantastic
It was pretty
showing,
quick.
and you know we love her representing us in the UFC cage and on any mats, and you know,
put up a good
awesome.
fight against
She did. It was fantastic, and we love Liz. And I want to just give a special shout out to our homies at Datsusara and Nuwaza for always taking such good care of us. I mean, Chris Odell, those seats, whoa. Amazing. And thanks Sweatshop Eddie and Happy for our cool t-shirts.
Yeah,
we love them.
Yeah, our little crop tops
You got any
that all the
shout-outs?
boys want now.
I know,
but they're
all the
not
boys
allowed.
like 'em.
They can go away. It's for girls. We don't have very much. Okay, leave our
That's
stuff
true.
alone.
Except Matt Therapy's coming out with stuff soon.
Wink, wink, wink.
Soon.
I do have some shout outs. The homie down in San Diego, Kong
What up?
Sorrell. I think
don't
I
know
said
how
it
to say
right.
his
I'm
last
sorry
name.
if I said it
Okay.
wrong, but
Wow.
we're gonna have you on the show one day. I promise.
Yep.
We're gonna make this happen. Our friends over at the LA Jiu-Jitsu Club, Eric Medina and Joey Haas.
What up, guys? We love you.
Thank you for the mats on Saturday.
So Reuben could give his cool ass seminar.
I know.
Yeah.
right?
Oh yeah. I do have several seminars coming up.
Yeah.
Look
No,
at
we
you.
you
were
were
you were the first.
you're gonna have a
Matt
little
Therapy
platform all to
open
yourself in just 1 second.
Okay.
I know. And then our homie Octavio Villanueva, OV Films. Thank you for all the photography this weekend
And the love and
videos
all
and
of the
stuff.
stuff.
Thank you for doing all that at the Matt Therapy Open Met Beach Party. Can't wait for the next
So,
one.
Reuben with
which
the good
we need
hair.
to start talking about. Yeah, Ruben with the good
Tell
hair.
everybody where they can
Find all your
find
good
you
hair.
on social media. Tell them where they can see you on TV. And where they could catch a seminar with you.
Oh yeah.
So you can find me on Instagram at Ruben Rivera Laguna. You can find me on Facebook at Ruben Rivera. Twitter at the Ruben Rivera.
The
We need
Ruben
to
Rivera.
get those all the same.
Yeah.
We need
Yeah.
to work
Well,
on
I tried. I can't.
didn't work?
I need to figure something out.
All right.
But yeah. And then
Seminars.
I want to thank
Mexico?
Matt Therapy.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Rubes.
thank you guys for having me. I want to thank Andrew Ryan Murillo from Van Nuys for starting the conversation, beginning the conversation with me. We trained together in Portland, and he was just like, hey, you should come to LA, and we're doing this mat therapy thing, and I'm going to talk to Donna, and I'll talk to Scott. And like, I feel like he just, I don't know that he was completely responsible for all of it, but he started moving things around. He had a huge hand in everything, and I think it's been awesome.
He has a huge hand in the whole
in
beach
everything
party
that the
any
beach
of the
party
events.
is him, and you know we love having
Exactly.
him on the mat therapy events, and he's our homie. We love him.
Yeah, so thank you guys. Thank Scott for also helping with all of that stuff. And yeah, I was just recently on Dusk Till Dawn, the series.
Oh.
Do you know my homie Jesse's on that?
Jesse
Garcia.
Yeah, he's the main character.
Yeah,
he's your homie.
He's my homie Jesse. Yeah,
he came and did jiu-jitsu with me one night.
He sent me a message. He's like, I'm white belting so hard. I was like, yes,
I'm white
so happy
belting
to hear
so
that.
hard.
He told you he was
good.
training with me?
Yeah. I told him, I was like, you have
awesome.
to go see my homies. So yeah, what up, Jesse?
Super sick.
I'm so happy you're on that show. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
so I got to chill with him on the show, and then he came and trained with me, and that was great. And then I think the episode I'm on airs on Netflix this week, maybe. Yeah.
Aren't you on FX
Look at
too?
you.
Isn't
Well,
that-
they have their own network. So El Rey
Right.
Network is owned by Quentin Tarantino and Robert Rodriguez, and it's there
how
now.
cool was it working with them? Or did you get to work with
yeah,
Rodriguez?
I got to work with Robert. He's very soft spoken. He's like a rock star. Like he's
Yeah.
a director, but he's not like as involved as you think he'd be. He's like playing guitar while he's watching playback and stuff.
Are you
And then
serious?
sometimes he'll come out. Like what was cool is like he came out and he gave me direction and stuff, which was really cool. 'Cause,
Oh, shit.
Yeah. And then the episode I was on was the only episode he directed of season
Oh,
3.
that's badass.
So that was cool.
I as an actress, he and Tarantino, like if I ever got to pick a director to work with,
That's it right there.
I was trying
Hell
not.
yeah.
I was trying not to fanboy.
did you? Yeah, I would fangirl out.
I wanted to get a photo with him, but I didn't want to be that guy either, you know.
Yeah.
And then we're there as professionals. Like I was
For
there
sure.
as an actor, and you don't want to be a fan. You don't want to look like an extra or something like that. I mean, nothing
Right.
to extras, but it's different, you know. And so you got to be there and you got to be professional. And so, it was a great experience. I want to thank my sponsors, Caveman Coffee. You know, they're great friends of mine. They keep me caffeinated all the time. I actually forgot my caveman right now. I was supposed to bring some.
Reuben.
I
How dare
know,
you.
terrible. I'm so terrible. I want to thank Pirate Life Radio, Tate Fletcher.
Hi Tate, we love you.
Yeah,
Did anybody notice the guy that was at EBI yesterday? It was like a mini Tate. I kept seeing him and I was like, oh, look, it's mini Tate. Like, I don't know. He just had like, it was like a mini Tate. The beard and
Tate
like the
vibe.
tattoos, like
All right.
tan and everything. With the
OTM.
shorts.
OTM Fight Shop
what
on
up?
the spot.
Oh, yeah.
On the mat. I'm sorry. Scott. Yeah. Powerballs.
How many sponsors do you
Paleo.
have? Damn. Look
Nice.
at you.
I'm probably gonna
Working
forget
it.
somebody. Thanks,
Gonna give an
Becky.
email?
Yeah. Becky's like, how many sponsors? I'm like, fuck. I'm gonna forget somebody, aren't I? Yeah. That's it.
No.
That's
No
it.
supplements. No. No
I don't
protein
think
powders.
so.
No.
I don't think so.
Well, thank you
I mean, I'm
so
ass-
much for coming. And I'm sorry, did I? Please.
I was gonna say,
Please
I'm
don't
assuming it
interrupt.
would be something you would be taking
right.
frequently if they were your
Why?
sponsor.
No, that's the thing.
That's what I'm
If
like.
I start taking supplements, if I start taking protein, creatine, and working out, I will gain.
Get buff.
I will not make 45.
Right.
That's the other thing.
All right.
But
Okay.
yeah. No.
Ruben Rivera. Ruben Rivera with the good hair. We love you. Thank you so much for coming and hang out with us
Thank you
today.
for having me, guys.
It's been awesome to see you all weekend. Bex.
Hi.
Wait.
What? Yes.
One more thing.
Please.
Seminars.
Yeah. Oh,
Oh,
get
seminars.
seminars. Duh.
So I have a seminar this Saturday
Okay.
at the LA Jiu-Jitsu Club.
Oh, what time's that at?
11 a.m. to 1 p.m.
Okay.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Can I? Oh, fuck. I might not be able to. Fuck.
Okay.
But yeah. So if you guys can make it out, that'd be awesome. It's a smaller group. He says he caps it at 16 people.
It's a pretty small space.
It's a small
And it's
space.
awesome.
So if you want to get
I mean,
in
it's the
16
size of the mats that we had on the beach.
Basically, yeah. But
Well,
some of them
no,
are on the wall.
But then we had some extra ones.
Yeah.
at
That's
the
true.
beach.
That's
There's a
true.
little
So
bit
it's
more,
even
yeah.
smaller
They-
than what we
they
had.
have
But they
the
have a
mulch.
pool there. So if
That's
you're in the
true.
LA area, sign up, go learn, and then jump in
Or
the
if
pool
you want to
after.
come
16.
visit, you can stay there too.
Yes, that's
Yeah.
true.
That's
true.
Yeah.
Anyway, go ahead.
All right. And
And then I'm
The
doing a
17th is
tour.
Saturday.
I'm doing a tour.
give us the date.
Is it Friday or Saturday?
Oh, I'm doing a tour in Mexico.
A
So
tour?
yeah, so I'm gonna go
The
to I'm
motherland.
gonna go to
Fancy.
Cancun. I'm gonna teach a seminar in Cancun.
Oh.
And that is on October 1st.
Nice.
And then I'm going to fly to Mexico City. I'm going to teach a seminar, 10 Planet Mexico. No, I'm going to teach a seminar in Mexico City at Fuego Coca MMA on the 2nd of October. And then I'm going to teach a seminar on the 3rd at 10 Planet Mexico City.
Nice.
On October 3rd.
Those are my favorite rash guards, by the way. Damn. What up, Jake Tap?
Yeah, Jake Tap really does make the best rash guards.
Awesome.
And that's it.
Nice.
Yay!
All right, no more guys.
Thank you so much. All right, Bex, give your stuff. We got to go.
Okay. BeckyDominguez.com is where all my things are.
Beckford.com.
At Bex and Violence Stop. Somebody
buy her that, please. Lee.
Okay.
You
I'm
can
not
go to
gonna live this one down
LeeSideConsulting.com. Leeside Consulting for all your podcasting needs. And I'll never forget Beckford.com.
What up? And Matt Therapy is also now at MattTherapyLife.com. So go check us out. Our clothing line is going to drop soon. You can always go to DonnaGonzalez.com and get the links for everything there. And you can also go to 10thPlanetWomen.com for any women's self-defense needs. Look at Becky's shirt. Certified badass. That's what we do to ladies.
Lee
so
has to switch the camera in order for
It switched.
It's switched.
Oh, okay.
All right, y'all.
I didn't see your fingers doing anything. Sorry. I apologize.
Thanks for hanging out with us today.
Thanks,
Say
guys.
goodbye, Ruben.
Bye, everybody.
Ruben with the
Thanks,
good hair.
Thanks for listening. If you made
Hashtag.
it this far.
Ruben with the good hair. We love you guys. Oh, next week, if you've made it this far, and if you haven't, now you're missing out. I'm just going to say this, and then I'll leave it with you.
It's finally happening.
Hanato Laranja is coming on next Wednesday.
27
Be
time
here,
world champ.
bitches. Peace out.
Deuces.
Nacho.
That was like over 2 million.
Almost.